Hello, travelers. Welcome to the Copper Fox Inn. Come on in, take a seat, and join us as we discuss Homebrew for Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. My name is Thomas the Human Bard, and I am joined today by...
Onog the Half-Orc Barbarian.
Onog, great to have you here. You know, we so rarely have you on the show, and I'm glad we were able to lock down, you know, your people and
I live
our
upstairs.
People. Yeah, but I mean, you're so busy, like you're in such high demand, you know, you're on all these other shows, you know, you Good Morning America, you know. So,
What's America?
Have you ever, Onog, heard of a game called Destiny?
You won't stop talking about it.
I know, I keep trying to convince you. Technically, I'm trying to convince you to play Destiny 2, the sequel to Destiny.
I have played I would say a fair amount of Destiny, not a lot. I haven't gotten into the lore. I haven't really explored any of the functionality, but I have gotten to some of the base game mechanics and stuff like that.
Yeah. It is a sci-fantasy shooter made by Bungie, who made the Halo series. On today's episode, we will be discussing a D&D homebrew themed around a class from the game Destiny.
Nice.
I found this on r/Unearthed Arcana, posted by user Sharant99. Thank you, Sharant99, for your work on this. I love Destiny. I love Destiny lore. I love all the stuff going on in it. And I thought this was a very faithful adaptation of something from the game, as well as being a very interesting and compelling D&D subclass that I would be interested to play as.
Yeah, and you love Destiny so much to the point that you are homebrewing Destiny mechanics in your spare time, if I remember correctly.
In my spare time, I like to pretend that Destiny has hired me to work on it, and then I spend hours of my own time making Destiny better that no one will ever see. It's called a hobby. Look it up. This is the Void Mind, the Sorcerous origin. So this is themed after the Warlock subclass in Destiny, which is a bit of a problem.
Not to be confused with the Warlock class.
Not a Warlock from D&D, but there are 3 classes in Destiny: the Titan, the Hunter, and the Warlock, and they roughly equate to the Fighter, the Rogue, and the Wizard, or Spellcaster in general. So
they're the chonky, they're the sneaky, and the spicy.
Yes, the chonky, the slippery, the spicy. That is correct.
That's right.
And this would be the spicy, and they have a subclass based around void energy, specifically void light, which is an even better oxymoron.
That's not how things work, but continue.
Yes, the light of the void. So to start, I actually want to read a little brief blurb from the Destiny Wikipedia about Void.
Yeah, hit me with that.
Void is one of several known manifestations of the light, along with arc and solar. It is related to dark energy and dark matter, and gravitational attraction. It can be wielded by guardians to generate black holes, spatial warps, and other distortions of space-time. It's one of the 4 classes of elemental damage common to all Guardian weapons. The use of Void Light has deep metaphysical connotations, being associated with a number of superstitions. It has been described as weaponizing the unknown.
Oof.
It was once considered taboo to use Void powers, as some viewed them to be too dark. However, the Void itself is defined as being an absence of light or darkness, and Void Light is merely a means to manipulate light energy, where all void energy originates through the use of the quantum vacuum. Look, we all get that. That's basic science.
Yeah, we understand that you use Void Light to manipulate light through the use of the quantum vacuum.
Of course, exactly.
I mean, it sort of makes sense.
It almost does, yeah. A lot of Destiny is actually based in like theoretical science and theoretical physics and stuff. So they try their very best to, even though this is just a damage type, it's the purple energy. They try to ground it in some form of like theoretical physics, like in this case,
right.
Dark matter and gravitational energy specifically.
Right. And it's like, even if it is science fiction mumbo jumbo, it's at least based into some kind of theoretical physics mumbo jumbo.
Exactly, but it's also magic because it is a science fantasy game. So it's also often,
because it is magic.
It is often referred to as space magic. So in Destiny, the Void subclass for the Warlock or the Spellcaster is called Void Walker, And all of
Nice.
its abilities are themed around this kind of the manipulation of gravity, the manipulation of energy and dark matter, which can make itself manifest in a variety of ways. Specifically, their big super ability is the Nova Bomb, where they throw the core of a dying star that explodes in a huge elemental explosion.
I think I've seen one of those go off while you were playing once.
Yes,
So, yeah.
exactly, yes. But they also have a lot of sort of darkness-themed abilities, things like draining the life from other people or like clouding a room with fog and smoke and darkness.
Are they the ones that can turn invisible, or is that the hunters?
The hunters can turn invisible. The warlocks cannot specifically turn invisible with a class ability. They would have to use some sort of exotic item to do so.
Okay.
So in D&D, how do we translate this? Well,
How do we get Explosion Nova Bomb into science?
yeah,
Or into from science to D&D.
exactly. And I don't want a new... I've seen before complete conversion kits for, hey, do you want to play Destiny and D&D? We've completely reworked how everything in the entire game functions. There's a
So
completely
it might
new...
as well not be D&D.
Exactly. It's basically a new RPG, and that's fine if you're into that.
Which is actually really cool. I would love to see a Destiny RPG.
Yeah, I bet that would be really sweet. But I'm more into being able to just drag and drop this into my upcoming D&D 5th edition, like, one shot, and I can be like, I fell through a time portal and I'm from another dimension where I'm from Destiny. How can I make that fit into the world of D&D as it already exists? So let's get into it here. User
Cool.
Sharnt99 has done the work for us. The Void Mind. A strange and unknowable force is interwoven in your connection with the weave. While some may train to understand it or search for it in the space between the stars, you find the emptiness of the void everywhere you go. It is inescapable. It is unfathomable. It is nothing. And you would know you find nothing around everything, around everyone, around you, within you, in such ways that cannot be matched by any other sort of force, of power or force. And there is no other power, no other force within you. Therefore, there is only nothing, only emptiness, only the void. What will you do with your empty gift? I think is really
A little
cool.
try hard, but let's get but I like
thing
where
is-
it started.
The thing is, it is sort of an edgelord class in
It's
Destiny.
the edgelord class. I mean, they call themselves warlocks, for crying out loud.
Yeah, they're the void walkers. They walk on the void. Void spells. First level void mind feature. So this is a sorceress origin, and we're going to get some additional spells. You learn
Even
additional
though
spells.
only one of those gets additional spells.
You learn additional spells when you reach certain levels in this class, as shown by the Void Mind spells table. Each of these spells counts as a sorcerer spell for you, but it doesn't count against the number of sorcerer spells you know. Whenever you gain a sorcerer level, you can replace one spell you gained from this feature with another spell of the same level. The new spell must be a necromancy or transmutation spell from the sorcerer, warlock, or wizard spell list.
Oh, that's actually that's even better than void spells.
Uh-huh.
Like additional, like you can change out which, if you don't like these spells for the vibe you're going for, you can change them out too. But they have to be from a specific
They gotta
class
be
of
necromancy,
school.
transmutation.
I love that.
I think it's
I absolutely love that. That's really
I think that's a really fun way to actually sort of solve sorcerers in 5th edition, like a little bit, like to fix their whole problem of having such a limited spell pool. Give them these niche, flavorful pools of spells that they can sort of swap between if they don't fit their specific vibe. I think that's a really great way to solve that. So before we list
good
all the
stuff.
spells here, the creator had said that they wanted to include some spells from the Guide to Wildmount, the Dunamancy spells, which are about like gravity manipulation stuff, which would fit
Right.
perfectly. But they ended up deciding that they wanted to mostly just include spells from the Player's Handbook or Xanathar's Guide, just to make it so that it doesn't rely on you having like 12 different books.
Right.
But if you wanted to swap some of those spells in, they said that would make perfect sense. Because some of those are literally
So basically,
like, so
anything
on
from
flavor.
Dunamancy fits.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in Dunamancy that's literally like you make a tiny black hole, or like you move someone with gravity powers. It's very on brand for this. So Void Mind spells. At first level, we've got Detect Evil and Good and Dissonant Whispers.
Nice.
At 3rd level, we have Gentle Repose and Pass Without Trace.
Nice.
At 5th level, we have Feign Death and Hunger of Hadar.
Gross.
At 7th level, there's Death Ward and Phantasmal Killer. There's also a lot in the class in the class in Destiny about manipulating life and death and zombies and stuff like that. And then
I'm
level,
seeing that here.
Anti-Life Shell and Negative Energy Flood. Which
I don't think I'm familiar with Negative Energy Flood.
Oh, you should look it up because it's quite good.
Because I'm not as familiar with the Xanathar's ones. I haven't read them back to back.
Negative Energy Flood is a 5th level spell from Xanathar's Guide to Everything. It is a necromancy spell. It is 1 action, has a range of 60 feet, has verbal and material components, but the material components do not have a gold cost and are not consumed by the spell. Its duration is instantaneous and is available to warlocks or wizards, typically. Mm-hmm. It says you send ribbons of negative energy at one creature you can see within range. Unless the target is undead, it must make a Constitution saving throw, taking 5d12 necrotic damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. A target killed by this damage rises as a zombie at the start of your next turn. The zombie pursues whatever creature it can see that is closest to it. Statistics for the zombie are in the monster manual. If you target an undead with this spell, the target doesn't make a saving throw. Instead, roll 5d12. The target gains half that total as temporary hit points.
Rockin'.
Yeah, that spell rules.
That's a really cool way to maintain a zombie army. That's really neat.
Just throw some energy at them and they get super buff.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So that is edgelord.com right there. That is...
Yes, correct.
Not only do you kill things with necrotic energy, the spell autos raises them as zombies. Okay, cool.
There is literally a subsection in Destiny lore of warlocks referred to as Thanatonauts, like an astronaut, but for Thanatos, the god of death, who venture into death to try and document what the other side of the veil is like. It's really try-hard stuff, man. It's really good. So, the first feature that really is going to, I think, get you excited is Devour. First level, Voidmind feature. You've learned the secrets of turning others' existence to nothing and turning your own nothing into something. At first level, you gain the ability to trigger Devour as a bonus action. For 1 minute after triggering this ability, you gain health from foes you defeat. Anytime during this minute that you or an allied creature causes a creature to drop to 0 hit points, you may pull their life force into your own, causing you to regain health equal to your charisma modifier plus your levels in this class. As a quick addendum, in the comments I did see that the creator had said this was intended to say within a range of 30 feet. So it's... Otherwise, Otherwise, you could say my friend across the world killed somebody, so I can...
My friend in another plane of existence killed somebody, and I feel great.
I feel great. You may use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency modifier, unless you spend 2 sorcery points to use it again.
Nice. I
love this. I think this is really awesome. It really motivates you to get cracking.
Sustainability in our little poor tiny wizard or sorcerer hit dice is very good.
We're getting these regaining health. It's not even temp HP. You just are getting. You just regain the health. It's really good.
I love the inclusion that it is. You just absorb the life of any creature that is slain by either you or your allies, because there are a lot of abilities like this, like with death monks or with like fiend warlocks, where it's like. Where it triggers when you kill something or when you put something to 0 hit points, you gain a benefit, either temporary hit points or you heal or something like that. But it only triggers if you do it. If you get somebody down to 1 hit point and then your friend deals the killing blow, you gain no benefit, and it always feels bad every time it happens.
Definitely.
I played my my halfling death monk character, Faywin. And she literally got a like black dragon down to 1 attack. Like it wasn't like 1 hit point, but it was like the next turn on the first attack, the wizard killed it. And it was just like and I gain nothing from this. Like, sure, our enemy is defeated, but I wanted to kill him.
Yeah, for sure. I really
and so the fact that its allies like also allows you to do it is it makes it feel a lot better, and it probably works flavor wise, that it's just something died near me, zoop,
I basically eat its soul. Yeah. I mean, it's really
that's really cool. I like
really
that.
Quite strong, especially if you're fighting a big horde of very weak enemies.
Yeah, I also love the it's a limited use of ability, but you can also, it's something to spend sorcery points on. Mm-hmm. If you have things that don't necessarily synergize with every spell you're doing, you can spend sorcery points on it.
Yeah, which is great. You'll see later,
amazing.
There are even some ways built in to perhaps get some of those points back when you need them.
Don't tempt me not. Get thee behind me, Satan.
Oh, we go there. It's really good. The next feature, Nova Warp. 6th level Void Mind feature. All things come from nothing, even you. At 6th level, your connection to the nothingness from which all stems allows you to pull yourself back into it. As a bonus action, you may disappear from this plane and immediately reappear in any unoccupied space that you can see that is within 10 feet of you. Kind of a bummer right at the end of that sentence there, but okay. This consumes movement as normal and does not trigger opportunity attacks. When you reappear, you may cause a blast of void energy to burst from you. All creatures within a 5-foot radius of the space in which you reappear must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, they may take 3d6 force damage, or half as much on a successful save. You may use this feature a number of times equal to your Charisma modifier, minimum of 1. You may expend 1 sorcery point on your turn to immediately use this bonus action again.
Interesting.
Yeah. So in Destiny, one of the alternate supers for the class is Nova Warp, in which you basically anime-style teleport around the map, exploding everywhere that you land, which is very much what this is going for. And I really like this as a concept. Like, it's not about teleporting for exploration purposes. The teleporting is sort of more for flavor, but you just move around, and as you're moving, you're just exploding like a mini bomb.
Things explode.
Yeah, like a mini fireball.
I really like it, and based on what you've described, it sounds like it's very flavorful, where it's just you explode, you teleport, you explode, you teleport, you explode. In Magic, or not in Magic, in D&D, it feels a little weird that it's like you have a teleport, but it uses your movement, but it's a limited item thing, and it's something that doesn't trigger opportunity attacks, but also it makes you want to get closer to your enemies.
It is a finicky ability. I'll give that to you. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like there's a little bit of non-boat, but then at the same time, if you are like constantly getting closer to your enemies to use this ability, being able to immediately get away from them also feels pretty good. But you just would have to be careful about teleporting to your friends.
Yeah, for sure.
I honestly think it could do with getting rid of it uses your movement, because it's already a limited use feature. I don't think it needs to use your movement. I think it can just be you have a teleport, and we can even I feel we could expand it from 10 feet to 15, maybe even 20 feet. The standard bonus action teleport that like most like Feywild elf races get is 30 feet, and that feels like this is something that maybe could mimic that. But then at the same time, you might want this character to have Misty Step.
Which you could opt
so
into.
maybe differentiating it from Misty Step, where it's like slightly worse than Misty Step, but it does force damage. I think that's a good place for it to live. But this is a really cool starting point. I really like this.
I agree. I think there's a little bit of refining you can definitely do for it to make it fit better in the sandbox for D&D. But I love the images of it, especially think about if you are fighting a group of things like, skeletons or whatever, like not things that have a ton of HP, and you just triggered your Devour, and now you're teleporting around, triggering these explosions, killing maybe multiple at a time. and just absorbing all that health. This is your ultimate, like, oh no,
Yeah.
I've got myself in a corner. I trigger Devour and I teleport out of here and I get all my health.
And then I go bananas.
Yeah, for sure. It's
It's very cool. The only problem is you can't do them on the same turn, as they're both bonus actions, if I remember correctly. Yeah,
no, for sure. But the other one lasts for a minute, so you can choose.
But the other one lasts for
a
a minute. Yeah. So you start Devour, and then this is a very like rough and tumble sorcerer. I really like that, where it's because this is a good example of a synergy where it's just like on a normal warlock you do not, or not, sorry, on a normal sorcerer you do not want to be anywhere near anybody. You do not want to be teleporting at your enemies. But because this sorcerer has the synergy of the heal ability from level 1, it, like you were saying, like you can find moments where you can capitalize on all your abilities at once and make them work together. And that this is a very good example of a synergy that doesn't explicitly just be like, yeah, and when you heal better. It's just like, no, when you kill things, you heal, and this helps you kill things.
Yeah. We'll get to the when you heal, maybe do something else next, because that is
Okay, cool.
In the next ability, Entropic Pull for 14th level. So I need everyone to remember, at this point, you're 14th level. This isn't going to break anyone's early games. It's already the late game. We're 14th level. Calm down. At 14th level, you have achieved a mastery of ripping the life force out of others for your own purposes. Whenever you would receive health points from your Devour feature, you may forego the healing effects and instead immediately regain 1 sorcery point.
Feed me, Seymour. Oh, that's good.
You may not exceed your maximum number of sorcery points with this feature.
When you kill something, you get a sorcery point back. Thank you. I will take it.
Or when your friend kills something.
Or when your friend kills something, you just get a sorcery point back. Oh, yes.
Onog, while that minute, because remember, you can use your Devour feature a limited amount of times, but your Devour feature lasts for 1 minute.
Right.
So during that minute, it can trigger as many times as you want it to. Like,
That's
as you
amazing.
can get it to. So
As
if you kill one enemy
so
in that
good.
minute, you get 1 sorcery point back. But if your party, over the course of that minute, kills 12 enemies, you can get 12 sorcery points back.
So you can just be spending them.
You can just basically
spend those
be
sorcery points.
spending them willy-nilly
Dual
every
cast
turn.
those spells, baby.
And what helps you kill more
That is
enemies to get your
good.
sorcery points
I mean,
back?
it might-
Spending your sorcery points on your abilities.
Yeah. It might be a little too good, but
I think it might be.
that's very good.
I think it might be what the sorcerer needs to be a little better. Honestly.
Honestly, I feel like all, if not most, sorcerers need some way of getting sorcery point back if they want to be competitive with just
Yeah. Exactly.
a mildly charismatic wizard, you know?
What I really like about this, though, is like, yeah, it's really wild, but you only can take advantage of it when your Devour is active. You have a limited number of Devours, unless you spend sorcery points to use them again. So as long as you can basically snowball, where you always end the battle with at least 2 sorcery points left, you can always
at least
start
get
it again.
started.
Yeah, but if you ever have to use your last sorcery points and you end the battle with none, you can't get them back at that point. Because you're out of Devour and you're out of sorcery points. Like, yeah. So I like that it gives you that ability to basically,
I love it. I like it. I want some more of it.
It reminds me of kind of, we had talked about in like 4th edition. It's like during the encounter, you get encounter abilities that you can spend because they're just for this encounter. You'll get them back the next encounter. So it's like, it kind of turns sorcery points into that idea of like...
Yeah, they turn into encounter. Well, and especially too, because this isn't a universal situational ability. Because like you said, this is great if you're fighting skeletons. You can get 12 sorcery points back. If you're fighting Jubilex, the demon god, like you might kill them, but that's only one sorcery point you get back. So using your Devour might not be viable in any way fighting him, you know.
Definitely. Now, I will mention, and because of course we have to, people in the comments immediately mention, like, oh boy, let me grab my bags of rats. Like, you'd have to think about that, probably. You'd have to...
Technically, a swarm of rats is only one creature. So it would only trigger one sorcery point.
Individual bags of one rat each. But yeah, it's like it is very cheesable if you wanted to set up situations for it, but also like just don't do that. Don't be a jerk. Like don't be a lame gamer.
So tell me about this Nova Bomb.
Yeah, let's go through this last feature. Nova Bomb, 18th level Void Mind feature. Your capstone ability, and boy is it a doozy.
This is already a broken subclass because they get 2 ults. So I don't think that's very fair.
Yep. I understand that. I mean, perfectly reasonable. Your ability to bring things to non-existence allows you to generate forceful implosions drawn from the void and hurl them at your foes. At 18th level as an action, you may choose 1 point within 60 feet of you. All creatures within a 20-foot radius of that point must make a dexterity saving throw or take 6d10 force damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful save. After this damage is dealt, a sphere of a 10-foot radius centered on the same point chosen by this ability becomes consumed by a damaging void for 1 minute or until dispelled. No action required, meaning like by you. Not dispelled like with a dispel magic.
Yeah.
This area
anyone can just say, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, anyone can dispel it for no action. This area is considered difficult terrain. Anytime a creature moves into the radius or starts its turn there, it must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take 4d8 force damage. Creatures of your choice that you choose when you use this ability are unaffected by the force damage left behind by the damaging void. If this feature kills a creature at any point, it triggers the effects of the Devour feature as normal. So it basically treats it as an ally. Nice clarification. Yeah. This feature can be used once per long rest unless you spend 5 sorcery points to use it again.
Yeah, it's a fireball that hates you.
And also, if you've already triggered your Devour, you can spend your 5 sorcery points to use this, and if it kills 5 people, you can do it again. I love that so much. It's so good.
That's good. That's very good.
It's such a zesty class. I understand it's probably overtuned. Look, I get that. But honestly, when was the last Sorcerer that was overtuned? Baby. Like, let it happen. Let us have this one.
And honestly, and that's the thing. It's better. I think it's one of those things where it's like it's better to overreach and then pull back rather and have people be a little sad that maybe something's not as powerful as it used to be than to not get to where it needs to be and have nobody care about it in the first place. But this is really cool. Definitely. This is really cool. I think the only thing that would need to change for this to be like a legitimate thing is probably the sorcery point cost for things just needs to be increased. Because it is so like honestly like obviously this is this is overdoing it, but it's like something along the lines of 3, 4, even maybe 5 sorcery points to trigger Devour again. So to make it more judicious when you're using it, where it's like if I can't get more than 4, if I can't get like 3 or more sorcery points from this, it's not worth it to trigger it unless it's the free trigger,
Yeah, no, I get you.
But that's the thing is like that's all wet work we can somebody can do. The ideas that are here are super cool and amazing.
Yeah, that's all like essentially playtest material that you can, in a game, how does it feel?
And and that's the thing is like the 18th level, like the Nova Bomb, it's basically a big old hungry fireball, but it's cool and flavorful, and it does more than just damage an area. It makes it difficult terrain, and it does extra damage if people are dumb enough to get close to the singularity, you know.
I think a great trick, like you were saying, if someone's dumb enough to walk into it, a great trick would be to throw it at the only exit of the room. And then
that's good stuff.
You want to get out of here? You're going to have to walk through the black hole, baby.
You know what? Why don't I introduce you to the black hole?
So you can either fight us or die. Welcome to the void. Overall, I read this subclass and I thought, oh man, this would be so fun, and it would let me feel like how I feel when I play Destiny. Because Destiny is very much about being an overpowered demigod. Killing.
It's about run and gun, live, die, repeat, go, 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 go.
Like, it is a fast-paced, razzle-dazzle game. Like, it is... It is not a boots-on-the-ground, very gritty realism. Like, it is about being a deity. And killing. It is
about exploding space magic at people.
Exactly. And this carries that so well, and it made me immediately think of a bunch of fun versions of a character I could create in D&D who would fit this vibe. Because it does still set it in the kind of D&D universe. It doesn't reference the light or the traveler or anything. It's just like, hey, your connection to magic is weirder than
is
other
about
people's.
this. Yeah.
So it's about this instead.
Which fits with the lore of Destiny, and it fits with the lore of D&D.
Exactly. So it's like this hollowness inside of you, this hungering void within you. You can let it out, and it hurts everyone around you, and you grow from their demise. I just was like, ooh, I want to play that character. That sounds like a cool character who would be, like neutral evil but aligned with the party, and so has to, make some moral sacrifices. That kind of stuff I think would be so fun. It gives a lot of cool roleplay potential for a character who's very good aligned, who then has to deal with, like, what is it that I'm doing to people? Like, is this an evil thing within me that consumes the souls of everyone around me? How can I use it for good?
It's super cool. And normally we harp a little bit on, like, your later ability just makes your previous ability better. And I feel like, though, the way that the 14th level Entropic pull pivots on Devour is it's not just like, oh, it made Devour better. It's like, no, it makes Devour something else. Like, it pivots the ability. It doesn't just improve it. And that's what I think is really cool about the design space this is coming from.
Because if it was just now it'll do twice that much health.
It would just be like, oh, okay, cool, whatever, I guess.
Yeah, but it lets you completely, like, change how you approach an interaction, because sometimes you'll want it to heal you, and other times you'll want a sorcery point back.
Sometimes you want it to heal you, so you're missing out on re-upping on your sorcery points, but, being alive is better than having 0 health and 19 sorcery points.
I mean, is it, though? Because I'm very greedy as a sorcerer. I'll take all the points I can get. It's like I'm at one hit point, and I'm like, I could use a sorcery point. Like, how greedy can you be, That's great. Any final thoughts, Onog, before we wrap the episode up?
I guess technically the way this allows you to get back spell slots, or to get back sorcery points, technically the way that it is worded, rules is written, this would allow you to compound spell slots, because the way that it's worded that you can absorb sorcery points to get back spell slots, it's not you can recover an expended spell, it's you can generate a new spell slot. Which is how coffee locks get into trouble, or why they're called coffee locks, because you're a sorcerer, you get sorcery points, you multi-class into warlock, and then you take the abilities that mean you don't have to ever sleep, and instead of taking a long rest, you can take a bunch of short rests and convert all of your short rest warlock spells into sorcery points that you can then convert into more permanent sorcerer spell slots. And I think this would allow you to basically, during a combat, just one-man coffee lock it. I would argue that you shouldn't be able to use sorcery points to create new spell slots. You can only use them to recover expended spell slots. And just that simple delineation stops coffee locks from abusing the game. It stops this from abusing the game. And those are the only issues that I could see with this coming up. But I think with just a simple rules change on something that isn't how people were interpreting the rules in the first place anyways, I think this is a really cool sorcery subclass.
Yeah, I thought it was fun because it wasn't just a good version of a Destiny, like, bringing something from another property into D&D, but also on its own, just a very interesting way to treat a sorcerer in a different way than we'd seen before, because it gives you this push and pull of killing to get your points back and trying to get enough points back to sustain yourself to get more points back, and it kind of snowballs into this ever-encroaching hunger, which is yet again thematically tied to the black hole subclass vibe.
I mean, honestly, it makes combat this other mini game for this sorcerer.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, combat is normally like, we gotta win. Sometimes it's spiced up with like, we gotta win, but this thing is happening, or this thing is complicating it. And now it's, we gotta win, but this thing is happening, and I need to kill 5 people in a minute, so that I can make them explode.
And also, I need to kill those 5 people. Nobody else touch them.
Nobody else touch them. I gotta kill them. But it's okay if you kill them, because this ability is nice.
Yeah, but I think that's actually one of the things they cleverly avoided, because if it was just you who got the benefit by killing it yourself, I think you would become aggressive against your fellow players and saying, no, let me do the final blow, or else you're ruining my whole class. And it's like, that's not
You're
fun.
only allowed to soften them. You're not allowed to hurt. You're not allowed to kill them.
But if as a DM, I start playing you against creatures that are clever and will run away instead of letting you murder them all, now it's a game where you're like, don't let them get away!
Now it's a chase.
We have to kill them, or else I will have no sorcery points for the rest of the day, because I spent all of them in a minute.
Yeah.
Basically just being a regular sorcerer at that point. Boom, got roasted.
You would be doomed to be a regular suboptimal class choice.
So that is the Void Mind Sorcerous origin. We'll have the post down in the description below, a link to the original post on r/Unearthed Arcana by user Sharnt99. Go give that post some love, give it some upvotes and comments. I really liked it. The art in this is great. Most of it's from Destiny, the game itself, but one of them is from Gamma Trap, who's a well-known Destiny fan artist who does incredible work. We'll have a link to their page as well for their art. If you enjoyed the Void Mind Sorcerer's origin, comment below and tell us what you thought about it. Do you think this is where Sorcerer should be? Do you think this is overtuned? How do you feel about the class? Let us know in the comments below. While you're down there, remember to like the video and subscribe for future Dungeons & Dragons Homebrew Discussion content. If you have a homebrew you'd like us to discuss on the show, send it to us at thecopperfoxinn@gmail.com or on social media at thecopperfoxinn. And until next time, keep on adventuring.
Keep on adventuring.